Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledging knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. News, blues, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
Oh, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the smoky, hazy towers of Chicago and the windswept west plains of Texas. It's Topic Thunder. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brooks, and that's Ben, and we are your hosts. Info tenders, I guess, is what we're going to settle on.
Sliding those glasses across the bar. Info coming at you.
Pouring conversation, as you will, and what we affectionately refer to as the Internet Saloon. So if you so happen to walk into the Internet Saloon, you're like, this seems like a cool joint. Well, you're damn right, first of all. But Ben and I just keep the bar here, basically, right? The conversation is really all part of the world's most dangerous chat zone, and that's like right there, ladies and gentlemen. That is the Thunderdome, no relation. And inside the Thunderdome, we already have a VIP. That's a very important parent, ladies and gentlemen. Ma Jordan joining us, and a slew and cast of millions, thousands, and
millions. Let's go with millions.
Millions. That's what he used to say on the Bozo show, like a cast of thousands, sure, millions. It's available to millions, actually billions. So let's just settle in on that, right?
You could be watching us on YouTube or Twitch or Facebook, many different Facebook.
Not pages. Stitcher, as they went under today. If you didn't see, Stitcher's done.
No, really. Yeah. I remember Stitcher back in the day. We used to. On the old podcast used to post to Stitcher.
Yeah, it's done. They officially announced that they're closing up shop today. So yeah, apparently
Spotify has kind of dominated that world now.
Kind of, sort of, right? But who knew the podcast industry isn't a moneymaker? I don't know what they're talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we will welcome you into the first segment of the show, and we actually have a new beer here today from our good friends at Three Floyds Brewery out of Indiana. This is the legendary Shader. And if there wasn't a better name for a beer for this show, I don't know. I've not had this one. I think this is brand new. At least it's brand new to my palate. Let me describe this to you before we give this a try. Once upon a time, there was a traditional Bavarian-style Weiss beer that brought joy to villagers across the land. They relished in the wonderful notes of banana and clove along its bubblegum-like aromas. Everyone was merry and contented. However, as legend has it, one day the king proclaimed the villagers that they could no longer enjoy this delicious libation as its name was not permitted to be spoken in the kingdom. So, I mean, what are you going to do? We changed the name. Problem solved. The legendary Shader was born, and there was much rejoicing. I think they need some work. They need that story started really strong and ended kind of like I'm too stoned to finish this one.
Step one, come up with a good idea. Step two, take a nap.
Yes, basically smoke too much weed, have a great idea, and then
forget about that idea.
Yes. But let's give it a shot, because I'm sure the good folks and the brewers at Three Floyds weren't taking a nap on this one. You tell me that this is supposed to taste like banana?
Really?
Go coconut. Not banana.
I think that's Ryan Hansen, the head editor. As far as I can see, all of the Facebook streams
you know what?
are up and operational.
I don't know.
It may not be Brooks. Yours is not attached, Brooks.
Hold on. Can I bounce out really quick and try and fix that?
Can you do that? Yeah, I guess this has never been done before. Let's try. Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Connor Bedard. Hold on. Can I jump out of the stream? Leave.
Or does it allow you to add it on the fly? I don't know what it looks like on your side. I'm flying by myself. Where'd he go? Appreciate you guys hanging in there with us. Banana beer does sound not great. I am very interested to see what his feedback is going to be. We may have to actually bring back Brooks Bolts, We haven't done that in a minute. When we make him rate on a scale of 1 to 5 Brooks bolts, whether or not he will be able to. No, it does not allow you.
Wait, no, it should wait. No,
Whoops,
this
whoop.
is not cool. Because it let me
I was
right
telling
in, but yeah. Oh no. Uh-oh.
That sucks.
Hold on. Edit name, video settings. No. Shoot, folks. Hold on. This is how did I mess this up? I probably just took my
I wonder if once we go live, you can't attach it.
well, hey,
Oh,
you know
well.
what? As we're sitting here
You
chatting,
can find it Topic Thunder Facebook page, my Facebook page.
let me
so,
actually, if can we link? Can we do some linking? Can we do some sharing here?
you could probably go to my Facebook page and share my post onto your or Topic Thunder's the Topic Thunder feed. You should do the Topic Thunder feed to your Facebook page.
Good idea. I'm glad we're having this conversation in front of everybody.
Live on the air in front of all the people that are in the audience,
just
waiting for us to give them
a show. Well,
fucking embarrassing.
Fucking embarrassing. Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah.
On Connor.
But hey, listen, well, I did say to people while you were away briefly that we're all skeptical of this banana beer thing.
Oh,
so
actually,
we need to get Brooks bolts. We're going to bring back Brooks bolts.
Brooks banana beer bolts?
Yeah. Whoa. Alliteration.
Hang on to your butts.
I see what you did there. Accidentally.
It's actually.
So does it taste like bananas? A.
No.
Okay. But it's made with bananas?
Actually, that's actually really interesting. And you know what? Wow, that is all right. I have to call in.
You're blown away.
I am a little bit.
You've been rendered speechless by
a little bit.
Beer.
I have to call in another opinion, so we're gonna call Gigi. Gigi.
All right.
Dear,
well, while you're doing that,
baby.
I've got a drink. It's not an alcoholic drink, but I've got a drink that I can tell you guys all about that I can give you a review of. You may or may not be familiar that McDonald's is currently celebrating Grimace's birthday. They have come out with a shake, a purple shake that goes along with that promotion.
Okay.
And so last night the kids wanted McDonald's for dinner. So we got the McDonald's for dinner. I'm going through the drive-thru and my son says, I want the Grimace birthday meal because I want that shake. I want to try that shake.
As you do.
You know what? Yes. Yeah. And I was like, all right, this is new. I am always one to try a new fast food product. And purple, I thought grape is the most likely. I didn't know what flavor it was. I asked my son. He didn't know what flavor it was. We were like, we'll roll the dice here and just go with it. I was thinking grape, and I'm thinking a grape ice cream shake sounds delicious, actually. Or maybe blueberry, right? Something along those lines. So took my chances with it, got it, came home, took one sip of it, and I think it's black licorice.
Oh.
And it was like I hate black licorice. I think it's the worst flavor of anything. If you enjoy black licorice, I don't trust you. Just as a general blanket rule, if you there's something wrong with you if you enjoy black licorice. And so, yeah, I took one sip and at first you're like, it's not so bad, but then the lingering taste is just black licorice. And I was like, I can't do it. No. And it was fucking gross. So I'm sparing anyone who was thinking about it. If you don't like black licorice, I do not suggest the Grimace shake from McDonald's.
Wow.
So I've spared. Now I've stretched out enough time.
Yes, absolutely. And folks, not only is Fiona here joining us, but you can't see her, but the lovely and talented Gigi, she of the freshly hair blowing hair, is. I want you to try, babe. Can you go ahead and try the legendary shader and let everybody know in Topic Thunderland? Like, look, I'm going to get you on camera, like it or not.
Jaeger shake. Yeah, it was gross. The only thing Jaeger, if you put Red Bull in it, it tastes like Smarties. The candy Smarties. Remember those little the things that come in a roll? Right. It tastes exactly like that. And I like Smarties. So if you Jaeger and Red Bull, delicious. Jaeger by itself, disgusting.
I don't taste banana.
No, she does not taste that. She does not taste banana. Tango down.
Report.
Banana aware. Banana aware. but it's good, right?
Yeah, I would drink that. It's not.
It's tasty.
It-
So, all right, Brooks Bolts. What do we got? How many Brooks
I'm gonna
Bolts?
give
Out of 5.
I legit the 3. This is a good beer. This is a really good
There you
beer.
I give it
5.5%.
3 Deos.
3 Deos from Gigi. I don't know what that means.
There you
though.
go. All right, there we go. It's official.
Oh, see, you're making a Harry Belafonte. Dale. Dale. Daylight come and the headlines go. Welcome to Headlines, ladies and gentlemen. It's the most creative segment ever. And we simply discuss the headlines. Well, I don't know. Has something happened in a far-off land that we routinely
Yeah, a country
cover?
that we talk often about. Did something significant happen there?
Is there a reason that we've talked about this country ad nauseum sometimes to the point where friends and family are like, really? More Russia?
Guilty. Yeah.
And I'm not trying to like here, right? I'm because that like, but here's why you have to pay attention to these things because what happened is only the precursor to something bigger. Because what we saw happen on Friday night, which I want to point out, this is what I'll take credit for, is that I was scanning Twitter when this was happening, and it wasn't being reported on CNN, NBC, Fox, blah, blah, blah. And I was already texting Ben and Lockboard Joe minutes before this was, again, then being covered. So I was kind of proud of breaking some news to the old group chat.
Yeah.
But what we saw on Friday evening, or I guess early morning in Moscow, columns of Wagner mercenaries, come on, rolling towards Moscow, taking over a town in Russia that was on the border with Ukraine. At first blush, you hear Rostov, and you're like, what? Okay,
Yeah.
who gives a
But
shit about that?
Context, I saw a video that provided some context. It's roughly the same size as the city of San Diego.
What
The
they're not
population
telling you
was.
is that it was a major military hub of equipment, training, ammunitions, and where the two heads of the Russian military were currently making their HQ. That's why Wagner Group picked that town. That's why when those two dudes weren't there, allegedly being tipped off by the FSB, which is the successor to the KGB, they were tipped off that this was happening. So they skedaddled, and that's why Prigozhin and Wagner Group turned their sights a little bit more north and started making a 300-kilometer, 220 or 30-mile march towards Moscow. And
Again, for context, the distance I saw was San Diego to Salt Lake City, where if you saw on a map, is not very far from each other, about 200 miles.
in like a day and a half.
Yeah.
So unimpeded. There was no resistance. But apparently they shot down like, I think it was like 6 airplanes and 4 helicopters, like almost 30 actual Russian military pilots died. Wagner Group showed some lethal efficiency that
Happy birthday,
honestly,
Grimace.
happy birthday, Grimace. That legitimately people in the Russian military aren't kind of used to, because let's be honest, the Wagner Group, full of mercenaries, that are the best of the best. That
Right. What's so crazy is like, for those of you in the audience that have been following along with us, you're like, wait, the Wagner Group, isn't that Putin's chef? Isn't that they were working for the Russian military, right? They were working alongside the Russian military. So what happened here? Yeah, that's exactly like this private military group basically turned.
The name of the company is PMC Wagner, and PMC stands for Private Military Company.
There you go. They make so they're right out there in the open, but they basically turned on Russia, like heel turned on Russia, or babyface turned, however you want to, you know what I mean? In wrestling terms, they turned on their partner here, so to speak, and that's incredible. And for Russia to almost back down, this is not, it makes Putin look a little weak because he fled. He got the fuck out of Dodge and they made sure that he was nowhere near being in danger.
Nowhere near Moscow.
Yeah. So
same with the prime minister Medvedev, same with their foreign relations minister Lavrov, all of the heads of the Russian what we call government, but really is again a mafia masquerading as government. All of those folks skedaddled because they knew what could be. Why?
Yeah.
Because Russian history is rife with this kind of regime change. This is nothing new to Russia. Let's be very clear.
What are the odds that old Evgeny? How did you say his last name?
Yevgeny Prigozhin.
What are the odds that in the next 4 episodes of Topic Thunder, we will be talking about the death, the untimely and odd death of old Mr. Yevgeny Prigozhin?
I mean, you'd be a fool to take that bet against it.
Mhm.
This guy kind of knows the tactics. He's
been in the meetings, right? He's been in those closest of meetings when Putin is talking about his real strategies, like those most private of meetings. He's been a part of those. Yeah.
And he has some support on the inside. That's the thing. What really makes Putin weak is that this wasn't stomped away. Like,
Russians yes, he didn't put his chest out. Putin did not stick his chest out and say, I'm going to put this down aggressively. No, he did not. That's a good point.
The Russian Air Force could have stopped this column of armor and troops in a second. They could have sent in squadrons of attack helicopters and fighter bombers and jets and just laid waste. Do you think they care about the villages along the way? Are you paying attention? If they really wanted to, they could have flattened this entire 25,000 man army that was marching to Moscow, but they didn't. And it makes no sense for a strong man who you assume is in complete control of his situation, including the army, couldn't mobilize and get enough support. That's the only way I can think of. I'm not an expert on this.
Right. There's got to be something to that.
The Prigozhin and Wagner had support on the inside from the military. There were enough high-ranking officials in the military that said, nope, not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see
which is also ballsy for those guys to say no to Vladimir Putin. He's not a man you say no to. Like, up until this point, he has projected himself as a man that you do not do this to. You do not make a move. You do not take a shot at the crown and miss.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. You better not miss.
Yeah, and this guy, he didn't miss, but he didn't hit, but he also didn't miss.
It was really weird.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, is this? Then your mind starts going to: is this staged on some level?
A little bit, right? It has to creep into it, but to what extent? And Gigi,
right? What's the end? What's the end game for either side? I guess.
So the story goes, like, Prigozhin gets, backs off his threat to march on Moscow and take out the heads of the Russian military and who knows who else, gets allegedly exiled to Belarus. And the Wagner group then gets absorbed into the Russian military proper. Well, let's talk about Belarus, the country that just formally accepted Russian nuclear armaments. And the first time Russia has exported nuclear armaments outside of their agreed upon borders of like 1992. The same Belarus that has been under the control of strongman Lukashenko for the better part of 30 years. Wow. But also considered a lapdog and kind of wannabe to Putin, a sycophant to Putin. So the conversation went like this. If you were already a Russian oligarch and already had billions of dollars, and then were allowed to develop your own private military, complete with high-tech military equipment, and you were to say get fed up with things, wanted to stage a coup, that coup really didn't accomplish much.
Right.
There was no bloodshed. There was no political upheaval or turnover. No real significant change in the status quo at all, actually.
Right.
But all of a sudden, this oligarch, who really couldn't ask for much more on this earth,
Right.
gets transplanted to this country where this other leader is democratically elected, but it's very clear who they're under the thumb of. Would it not be the step up from an oligarch to then be given his own fiefdom, say? And should we not be worried about the health and life of Yevgeny Prigozhin, but we should really be looking out for the health and safety of President Lukashenko?
Yeah. He's probably looking over his shoulder a lot right now.
I think that's a very interesting story. Now, of course, there's a strategic element to the Ukraine war that all of a sudden now this absorbed Wagner group militarily is cooperating with Belarus and such that it isn't just something that's reinforcing kind of the northern flank. But it'd be this would be now a multinational attack on Ukraine if Belarus does decide to get involved in a war with troops wearing their flag on their shoulder.
Interesting.
What does President Xi think about this? What does China think about this?
Yeah, there's a lot of fallout, butterfly effect sort of things that in the coming weeks we will definitely be finding out more, I think.
If you're India and you're trying to decide on, well, who do we partner with? Do we sign deals with Russia or do we sign deals with the United States? Now, how does this make Russia look?
Right.
If your country's in Africa and you're wondering, oh yeah, the Russians have come in. Wagner Group's very, very, very active in Africa. Clearly now how can you not take this as some sort of weird defeat, a surrender, actually?
Yeah, it's odd. It's odd. I think more is going to play out in the coming weeks, and we'll find out. We'll find out exactly. It's one of those things that's there's more to the story, and we don't have the full story at this point.
Well, taking our collective eyes away from the global stage, we're going to kind of focus on the domestic stage here for a little bit. I don't know how far you have to kind of be down into the ground with your head to not see these weird stories involving Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and all the wild, weird things he's been doing on the internet, including posing half naked and doing very, very poorly positioned push-ups. We promised that we would kind of start talking a little bit about him to kind of understand who and what he is and what he represents. Brandy Zadrozny is actually a very well-respected columnist and reporter. So while we won't copy everything she says, I highly suggest you check out this NBC News column from her. It was dated on June 19th of this year. Brandy Zadrozny. But it starts that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. stands on the edge of a cliff while his three dogs sit at attention waiting for a treat. It goes on to describe a conversation with the man that I don't know how many meat and potato eating Americans can truly relate to this guy.
No, almost none.
He's coming from one of the most politically powerful and legacy-based family names of all time in American history.
Easily.
And has uptold privilege. He has never had to work. He has no idea the concept of wanting or being short of something. Yet, for some reason, positions himself as the everyman, which, I guess every politician tries to do, some with success, some with not. But yes,
American royalty is a good way to put
royalty. He absolutely is. But Robert F. Kennedy Jr. would probably be a disgrace to his father and a disappointment to his uncle at this point, because he has embraced the absolute wildest of conspiracy theories for basic publicity purposes, if I'm reading the tea leaves correctly. Because there's really nothing that this guy talks about that has any merit or anything. But to go on, Ben, you got it up. But the third of 11 children. Don't tell me that this guy has an idea of what it's like to be an everyday American.
Yeah.
And don't tell me that this guy knows what's best for everyday Americans. And don't tell me this guy has any position to debate anybody on science, especially that of vaccines. Thanks to Joe Rogan and the hordes that he controls, here we are. We are promoting this wacko of privileged wacko hashtag.
Yes, privileged wacko. Appearing on the next Super Wrestler show.
Absolutely. Why not? And for what? He's not going to win the Democratic.
Yeah, well,
nomination.
no, and that's a whole different discussion.
Is
because
it?
well, in a way, it brings up another discussion, which is the fact that the DNC is basically rewriting their rules for this upcoming election and not holding debates, apparently. And basically, for all intents and purposes, are just going to anoint Joe Biden as the Democratic candidate. Like, there will be nobody going up against him in the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party has no interest in anyone other than Joe Biden running in 2024.
And
so he's not, you're right. He's not going to get elected because there's no chance, because he's not even going to get a chance to get in front of everyone and debate Joe Biden or any other Democratic candidate. So other than Joe Rogan, he's not going to have much of an audience.
And to be frank with you, and I guess I'm doing both sides in this regard, unfortunately, but also the Republican Party is also basically not going to hold any kind of, nobody's going to debate Trump.
Right.
We're coming down to that dreaded showdown between the establishment and both political parties, right?
Yeah. And
it's unfortunate.
Guys like Robert F. Kennedy and Chris Christie are going to get drowned out. They're just not, whatever traction they may be starting to get is you'll see as we get closer to election, as when it gets more serious, it's a 2-candidate race. It's a redo of the last election. Get ready, guys. That's what we're heading.
I'm fairly certain none of the Republican candidates want to debate Chris Christie.
No,
I don't think anyone. They don't want that smoke.
No, but let's get back, because I want to talk. I don't want to
please get it. No, go. I want go.
So it says here, Kennedy believes the government, specifically the CIA, is responsible for both killings of his father and of his uncle, John F. Kennedy. That's not necessarily totally wacko, right? That there is some question there, especially with John F. Kennedy's killing. Both of those killings, let's be honest, those assassinations, there's a lot of unanswered questions and some things on, especially with the magic bullet theories and things like that, where it isn't so crazy to think that there's something more to the story of both of those assassinations rather than just what it's on the surface.
The Kennedy assassination is rife with that stuff, and rightfully so. There are a ton of unanswered questions, like you said, magic bullet, and just the fact that it's almost impossible that there wasn't more than one shooter. Not going to deny, absolutely, there are definite questions there. I also point out that has actually been proven to be pushed as a piece of Russian propaganda. So I don't want to diminish the questions that you're asking about that and the points that you're bringing up, because they're very valid. But I also want to point out that at that stage, there were, again, Russian intelligence was looking, going, how can we push this? I don't think the assassination of Bobby Kennedy was, I don't know. I mean, are we talking? Because if you think Sirhan shot Bobby Kennedy and killed him, then you're believing that the CIA had the ability to control the mind of somebody. So, and we all have read the wild stories of Project MK and all that kind of stuff, right? You know, the
Yep.
LSD experiments and whatever.
Sure.
But at that point, you stretch it out, play it out from there, right? If they were at that point able to control the mind of one person to kill a presidential hopeful, and at that point, I think he was still the Attorney General of the United States. Why are we even having any question right now about the validity of a conspiracy theory about it? Why aren't they just controlling our minds and going like, "Oh,
Yeah,
these
you
are
see
the
that?
assassinations you're looking for"?
Sure. No,
Right?
that's a valid counterpoint.
I would just
Definitely.
say that if you think they were experimenting on an individual level to do something nefarious like that,
Right. And
but-
pulled it off.
and
With
pulled it
success.
off successfully, but aren't able to accept the fact that then they had more ambitious thoughts about that technology.
Right.
Besides, as Rage Against the Machine as so succinctly pointed out, they packed the 9 and fired it at prime time. Maybe that was their thing, but like you have to acknowledge that if they used it once on one person and then said, "Well, we did that." No, you have to then think bigger. You have to think broader. You have to think that they would have been putting that. If you think there's fluoride in the drinking water, then there's mind-altering LSD that is syncing up with the television rays that are coming in with the messages that are beaming from the 5G. Pump the brakes. Do we have honest thoughts and reservations about the advancement of technology? Yes. Is there scientific evidence to refute some of the wild claims out there? Yes. Are there unanswered questions about the scientific validity and safety of some of these new technologies? Yes. Do we have an open forum for conversation and debate about those? No. Because we're so politicized, and we're so politicized by folks like Mr. Kennedy here.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan.
And as I pull now, so the next thing, obviously, the thing that he is most known for as far as conspiracy theories go is the vaccine stuff. And I pulled it up on the screen so people got a chance to kind of digest it as you were talking and get a chance to read along. But you can see here, he was giving speeches about, pollution and that sort of thing. And he's, looking into, he's a big proponent of the environment, which is good. That's the thing about this guy is that there are some things that you can be like, okay, he makes a little bit of sense there. I like what he says there. But then the majority of what he says is wacko nonsense. But that's how they get you though, is they sprinkle a couple of things that you like, and then they hope that they can, shift. Excuse me.
It's headline reading is what it is. And it's not kind of going into the substance and figuring out like, oh, well, I care the most about this topic, but I don't give a shit about the rest of the fucking alphabet. I only care about the letter A.
Right.
Nothing else exists.
So yeah, the one thing is the methyl mercury, and the mercury in vaccines that has been a long, decades now long thing. Jenny McCarthy was on TV, kind of going, that route and blaming autism on it. But it was found that it's not the same kind of mercury that you're thinking. The mercury that's in like in a thermometer, right?
Old
It's
school
not.
thermometer.
Yeah, it's not the same thing, and that's where the conspiracy theory breaks down, is that they're not giving you the proper context when they're talking about methyl mercury. But guys like Joe Rogan provide a platform and don't push back at that moment. And that's where the debate has to happen then and there, not after the fact, like we talked about last week, having someone come in and try to correct after it's out there. It's out there.
You can't bottle it back up.
Yeah, and no, the people that really want to believe that aren't going to tune into the next episode. They just heard what they heard. Well, Robert F. Kennedy, he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. and he's talking about methyl mercury and how there's mercury in the vaccines, and
And
how
then
Wi-Fi
there's
opens up our blood vessels.
thousands of Facebook accounts that then start clipping headlines and posting specific quotes and everybody, that's all they read, and everybody thinks they're a fucking expert on things without reading everything that was said, and then understanding that nothing was questioned. And in a podcast format, I hate to break it to everybody, this is not a scientific forum. This is an opinion-based forum. This is largely a marginally informed opinion-based forum.
Right.
You experts don't come on shows like this. They shouldn't come on shows like Joe
From
Rogan.
what I understand, I guess that doctor that was involved
Poets.
in that whole thing, he was on the show before.
He had been.
At the beginning of COVID, when they were talking about the mRNA or mRNA.
mRNA. Yeah.
I always get that mixed up. But yeah, so he was on in the past, and like I said before, like there is a shift in Joe Rogan's mindset.
The minute like he moved to Texas, it became very apparent. That was shortly after the Spotify deal. It's you could almost like put a line in the Joe Rogan timeline of like, okay, very cool, very cool. Yeah, sure. He was dancing around a couple things, but are very interesting, and he was handling it right, and then handling it, and all of a sudden, oh my god, what is this guy allowing?
He
on
just
his
went
show
off a cliff
without any kind of logical pushback, or like, wait, you just said something weird. Do you have any proof of that? He never does that anymore. He used to, actually.
No, yeah. If you say
He
it
used to.
convincingly, he just accepts it.
He's like, wow, that's wild, Jamie. Did you know about that? Jamie, call up that video. And they play like a half a minute of a video that just that
He started
placates-
running. He started running in more conservative circles.
Well, he's buddies with Elon. It was almost like when he had Elon on the show, you could probably trace it back to when Elon smoked that joint on the show for the first time.
Right.
Right. And Elon handled it like a pro. They've been around virgins when they've inhaled for the first time. It generally doesn't go like that interview went. They usually end like laughing way too much and inappropriately. Just what happens. You get the giggly. I think we're just going to skip all the rich people that RFK Jr. knows, because I think we're well aware of that. Hey, we've got a problem that we're going to squarely blame Canada for. Blame Canada. The air quality in Chicago in the last handful of days and the surrounding suburbs, that metropolitan area.
Yeah, you guys got what New York got a couple of weeks ago.
It sucks. Flat out, folks. It sucks that that it looks so hazy. And I actually have some pictures on my phone of like when you see pictures of the city of Chicago and the haze, it's not a joke. It's actually super thick, super unusual. And somebody on my Facebook timeline said it tastes like fireplace outside.
Ooh.
It kind of does. You can kind of, it smells like the faint, like somebody lit a candle of like forest fire.
Jesus.
Scent. And yesterday, we had the worst air quality in the top 100 cities in the world.
Jesus.
Yeah, good old Chicago. And of course, this is going on in Canada. There's nothing that we can do about this other than reinforce the idea that we are all one. What happens in Canada affects us. What happens across the globe.
Yeah, guess what?
Texas.
The border, those man-made artificial borders that we put up between Earth, pieces of land on Earth, guess what? They don't block shit. It's just man-made imaginary lines. So again, borders are meaningless when it comes to things like Mother Nature and the overall health of the planet.
So when the toilet that we flush or the water that we run unnecessarily, like, well, not like, okay, it hits your water bill and you have a $5 more on your water bill. Like, shit, we got to cut back on the water, honey. Like, that water goes somewhere. It gets treated. It's no longer consumable. It pollutes right? The things that we just throw in the garbage end up in the fucking ocean. And we've talked about how much plastic is out there. That all has an effect. You might not think it, but it has an effect on you and us every single day. It's affecting the oceanic conveyor belt, which has a direct effect on our climate. While at the same time, we are pumping carbon products straight up into the sky. And with the scientific debate of climate control, bullshit. There is no debate.
There's no
Climate
debate.
is changing. You want to talk about why it's changing? And if first person to jump in and say it's the natural cycle, you're goddamn right it is. And we should heed that fucking warning.
Yeah.
And
We're
not
overdue for a fucking catastrophe, ladies and gentlemen.
And
Overdue.
adding gasoline to a fire, in my experience, doesn't help the situation.
No, it is really hard to put out a fire by throwing gasoline on it.
You
Yeah.
don't do that. So just the acknowledgement that we all share this planet, that what happens elsewhere has an effect on us.
Mm-hmm.
We have to acknowledge that. Until we get that collectively, we're never going to solve the problems of this planet, which, truth be told, we have to get off of this planet if this species wishes to survive. That is a true statement, and it is an inarguable fact. We need to leave this planet successfully and thrive off of it in order to survive as a species, because doom is coming.
Jesus.
Sorry,
Yeah.
but it's the truth. And the history of this planet shows us that. History of our local solar system shows us that. Of our galaxy, of our universe shows us that. How much more? Again, you want to show us, you have to do the research. Here's the research. This happens. There's a rock heading our way.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see it. There's an uncurable disease hiding in a forest that we're going to cut down and release upon everybody. It's just going to happen. We have to be prepared. And by being prepared, we have to understand that this planet is fragile and that all of us belong here and elsewhere. Wow, this is good beer. It's actually really good beer. It's done. I don't know. Maybe whatever's in the air. I've been smoking too much. Ha!
Hey-o.
Hey-o. Hey, folks. Did you know that a snake has a clitoris? Or
If you didn't, you know now.
Are we saying clitoris?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was clitoris.
It is clitoris. I'm being. Hey, I know all about that clitoris there, Ben. Don't tell me about that G-spot. I know exactly where that is, too. Female snakes have clitorises, scientists have detailed for the first time in a study of the animal's sex organs. In 2023, are we really finally just exploring and
Well, there's an argument to be made that there should be far more important things that we are investigating with manpower and scientific minds than the sex organs of snakes.
I'm not arguing that point with you. I'm just saying, like, this hasn't been done before. You would think this had been done before.
I guess.
When I dissect things, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You're not looking at the snake clitoris? What's wrong with you? It's irresponsible.
And how do you even figure this out?
In a study published by the Proceedings of the Royal Society B, the researchers found that snakes have two individual clitorises. Hemiclitorises, separated by tissues and hidden by skin on the underside of the tail. Well, I guess hemi means half, so the clitoris is split into two, kind of like that thing that like your vocal cords or something like that. I don't know, like testicles almost. Female genitalia are conspicuously overlooked in our comparison to their male counterparts. Oh, it makes sense. We've looked at snake dicks before.
By the way, the world's most dangerous chat room is on fire right now with this story.
Right. Well, we find them on snakes. Okay. Listen, it's science. We do the research.
Are scientists trying to fuck snakes? I mean, you have to ask that. If we're investigating the sex organs of snakes, it has to be with the idea of, can we fuck them, right?
I'm literally writing this down so I can ask the next scientist I meet.
Yes, excuse me.
Are you guys
sir.
trying to fuck snakes? What's up? Can you come on our
Because
podcast?
it
and
really
debate
sounds
us?
like you guys are trying to fuck snakes.
Debate me on why this is a good idea.
Oh,
It should be our tagline.
shit.
Debate me. Topic Thunder. Debate me.
Whoa. Oh,
Male snakes and lizards are known to have hemipenises. Well, hello. And a pair of penises, which are inverted outside the body during reproduction. In many species, hemipenises are covered in spines or hooks. Well, what the fuck? Are you telling me I had a choice to have spines and hooks on my penis?
Jesus.
I didn't get that option.
No, that
I'm not
wasn't.
saying I would.
Yeah, but I don't know. No, I wouldn't even consider it.
If we're doing
Even if I had the option.
if we're doing a build a character in like a video game, you want a 99 speed or do you want hooks on your penis?
Oh man.
The study's lead author.
It might be easiest to find if there's two.
See, this is why we hire people like I'm sure that's Ryan Hansen.
Yes, it is.
Trying to find it is not always the easiest thing, and some are extremely tiny. Falwa said she first dissected the clitorises in a death adder, in which organs form in a triangle shape like a heart. Well, that makes perfect sense. Why wouldn't a death adder's clitoris be shaped like a heart?
Sentences I'd never thought I would hear said, but here we are.
It's nothing but firsts here on this episode of Topic Thunder. Number 121 by my records. I was fortunate that the death adder had a reasonably prominent hemiclitoris. I'm gonna let that hang in the air for a little bit. Maybe we've parked on this story too long. Maybe not. Another quote. It could also be signaling to the ovaries to ovulate and to oviduct to potentially prepare for sperm storage.
They're trying to fuck the snakes, Brooks.
They're trying to fuck snakes.
Tell me they're not. Convince me.
The researchers went on to dissect 10 snakes of 9 species, including the carpet python, puff adder, and Mexican moccasin.
Taylor Swift should write a song about that death adder clit. God damn it, you people are amazing. I love each and every one of you. Thank you.
A quote.
Oh man.
We will never, ever, ever have a death adder clit.
Oh my
what did I send you next? Holy shit, Ben. I don't even know
this
anymore.
giant fucking octopus. We're looking scary as fuck.
Look, and here's the coolest thing about it is that actually humanity in this regard performed admirably.
Yes. They didn't try to fucking kill it, is what he's basically saying.
Or fuck it, apparently. Like we have
look at that thing. That's terrifying.
It's a big octopus, right? That's a big old squid right there. We have long covered the intelligence of octopi.
Yes.
They have been able to problem solve. They're like open jars. Look at this thing. It didn't trust a human, but it was guided out. And thankfully, we had some responsible human beings on that boat. And maybe that octopus goes back and tells the orcas, like, hey, guys.
Hey, not that boat. That boat's cool.
Maybe they're not all so bad.
Right.
Maybe. But that's going to be an interesting conversation. And you want to talk about debates right there. That's a debate under the sea. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a snappy segue for this one.
No, because there's some airline stories we've got to get into this week.
Oh, for sure. Actually, this one sent into VIP Dan Effin Brooks.
Oh, all right.
Airline passenger allegedly assaulted flight attendant, demanded kiss to help him calm down.
Oh,
you would normally expect something like this in the maybe the lightning round, but no.
Yeah, Florida man to be involved.
Oh, of course, and in Las Vegas. An airline passenger is facing a federal charge after the FBI said he assaulted a flight attendant and demanded she kiss him on a trip to Vegas. William Morgan was on a Southwest Airlines flight. What the fuck is happening at Southwest?
Yeah.
He was on a Southwest airline flight from Palm Springs, right? From Palm Springs, California to Las Vegas on October 3rd of last year when the alleged incident occurred. an FBI agent stated in court documents. Morgan, who was one of about 100 passengers on the flight, got up from his seat about 20 minutes before landing and demanded, name redacted, kiss him. Documents said. He is also accused of assaulting a flight attendant, grabbing her by the shoulders and attempting to push her into a bathroom.
Oh my God.
The flight attendant got up from her jump seat, at which point Morgan put his arms on her shoulders and demanded a kiss before stating he was going to have a panic attack if she did not go into the bathroom with him. First of all, have you been in those bathrooms?
Yeah, you cannot fit two people.
There's no way to fit two people in there.
No.
So, okay, Morgan also said that he needed blank to kiss him to calm down. Morgan then grabbed blank's face and squeezed hard while trying to kiss her. A second flight attendant stated that she was scared for her life and that she was concerned for other passengers. Now, this is probably cool 40 years ago. Nobody said
no one would have
thing.
said shit. Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't cool 40 years ago. Let me correct myself.
Right. No. Society would have said it was cool, but it wasn't cool. Yeah.
It was never cool and should never be accepted as cool. To be honest with you, we should, again, treating each other with respect, understanding that we're all just the same thing. We're fleshy robots on this rocky planet that has a lot of water in it, thankfully. And we're doomed if we don't figure it out. Theme of the show, figure it out. So, speaking of theme of the show and surviving, we often talk about the use of violent weapons here on this show, what we would sometimes call military grade weapons. And that term gets debated often, especially by the right that are polluted by the NRA to think that somehow an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle is not a military grade weapon. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you U.S. Navy veteran, representative from New Jersey, Cheryl, who's qualified as an expert in M16, Colt 45, and 9mm Beretta.
Many of us grew up in hunting families, myself included. I grew up around firearms. My father taught me how to shoot. It's why I qualified as an expert in an M16 and a Colt 45 and a 9mm Beretta. I am familiar with firearms. And yet I can tell you that because of that familiarity, I know that there are weapons of war that should not be found on the streets of New Jersey. If you want to know, does gun safety legislation work? Yeah, it works, but guess what? We're constantly being undermined by straw purchasers and gun trafficking coming in from states like Pennsylvania right next door. So we need federal legislation. And when we see our colleagues across the aisle not only refusing to take a step to pass legislation that would keep our kids safe, but instead bringing up a vote on pistol braces, accoutrements of firearms that make them more dangerous, that could not be more out of step with where parents are and where the American people are. And that's why we're going to keep coming, and I hope you guys keep focusing on this so we can continue to advocate to keep our kids safe and work hard to make real change in this country, because this is abnormal. It's not like any other developed country in the world, and we are seeing horrible, horrible results as we fail again and again to take the steps we need to take to do better here.
There we go. More people like her, please.
Could you imagine?
I don't know what else about her politics or anything along those lines, or who she may or may not be beholden to behind the scenes, but at least on that subject, she's on the right side of the argument, in my opinion.
Again, listening to experts. When the military qualifies you as an expert in a weapon, trust that you have gone through a lot of training and a lot of testing and a lot of practice. 3 different weapon types? Come on. Yeah. How much more do you need to know? She pointed out the gorilla in the room that New Jersey can pass whatever laws they want to, just like Illinois. Illinois, you people have the toughest gun laws in
Chicago.
the nation.
Look at Chicago.
You mean
but
Chirac?
you don't understand. People that say that don't understand how close Indiana is to Chicago.
Don't care. Or
Right.
they don't know the map, obviously.
Right. And they also don't understand that
Fucking
outside
morons.
the counties directly outside of Chicago also don't have the same legislation, the same gun laws as the city of Chicago proper does. There have been numerous police and law enforcement stings done where gang members send people without records, mostly women, to dealers outside of Chicago. They buy multiple handguns at one time, multiple boxes of ammunition for one person, and they bring them back into the city of Chicago because it's just that easy. That's why you have to have federal legislation. Everyone has to have the same rules.
Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine that the gangs are going, oh, we can just go the next county over
You
and get guns. Oh,
we get
okay.
to ride in a car, listen to music, and smoke blunts.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's literally
Cool.
a 20-minute drive, tops, to another county from any part of Chicago. It's 20 minutes to get to a county that you could buy a gun in. So,
It's true story.
Yeah.
True story. And yes, Ryan Hansen, it is hard to go and put the gun genie back in the bottle.
Right, because you're not going door to door taking people's guns back.
And no, you're not. But that's no excuse to not do something.
Yes.
To stop it from proliferating any further. Let's just do it. It's well past time. We tried it once and it worked. Data's there. Speaking of data, human remains have likely been recovered from the Titan submersible wreckage. Hey, remember that story from last week?
Yeah, I don't believe this story.
Oh no. Wait. Really?
I don't believe this story. I don't believe there were any human remains. From what I understand,
Here we go.
when that capsule collapsed,
Yes.
in the matter of 30 milliseconds,
Yes.
it heated up to the hotter than the sun,
Yes.
and one end of the vessel crashed into the other end of the vessel, all in 30 milliseconds.
Yes.
They evaporated. There are no human remains. If it was as hotter than the sun, their entire bones and everything evaporated. I don't believe there was any remain. I don't know that that's possible. That doesn't make sense to me. Maybe you can correct me.
This is great. No. I'm all about this. You're getting some traction here in the Thunderdome, which is, but I understand then, okay, fine. Let's, again, like we do most conspiracy theories, let's play this out. To what point? Why would they?
Well, I don't know, because I also believe that they knew that Sunday, they knew that I mean, they knew now. They're saying now that Sunday that vessel imploded on itself.
Correct.
Yet it was Wednesday when we were talking about it, and they still hadn't found them.
Yes.
Hadn't found them, but now saying they knew that Sunday it imploded. How can they know that?
Well, I mean,
and what was the banging that they apparently heard?
Right.
Like there's more. There's something going on here, man.
I mean,
I don't know what the end game is. Right? I'd love to know what the end game is, because was it a distraction for something else? I don't know, because on its surface, it doesn't make any sense that the world paid attention to this the way that they did.
Outside of, 3 really rich white people. I mean, and somehow an addiction to stories of like some kind of famous tragedy, some glorious tragedy.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
why spend all those days? There's more that doesn't add up, dude. Why, if they knew, how could they know it imploded Sunday after the fact?
Well, in all honesty, like there are fields of underwater like sensors and microphones, basically trying to detect incoming subs. and I'm not kidding about this. There are
Sure, no, I agree. I think the technology that the U.S. government has in the water is far beyond what our brain can probably comprehend is available.
It's very much like space technology, except that there's a material for whatever signals and energy to go through, so they have to adapt to that. But you're not wrong about it. Same technology can apply in space as to underwater. But it would have been picked up on sensors and sonar because it would have been such a dramatic effect on the water around it that the shockwave would have been picked up then too. And I will say that while it did a pressure collapse of that magnitude would have, absolutely right. And I know who sent you that meme that sent you all that information. I know that is scientifically accurate. That happened for the briefest of brief seconds before everything was exposed to near freezing cold water.
Right.
So you can imagine we've all lit a match and thrown it into water, and we've all seen what happens to it. So it is not out of the realm of possibility to find
that remains
human debris or debris, however you want to put it. I'm not saying that you're not wrong. Like, there's something weird about this, because we reported that several agencies were reporting that they had been hearing rhythmic banging. Every 30 minutes, they were hearing a boom, like a bang, bang, which is what you'd want to do if you were trapped in a submersible with dwindling oxygen supplies. Right. A rhythmic banging, right? Something detectable, because nature doesn't operate like that. If you create something that's a steady signal, it can be picked up. Very smart. But we reported those stories too. Yeah. So I will agree with you. There is something weird about that, but I just asked to what end.
I know. I agree. Like, it's another story where I don't know that we'll know soon. Maybe we will never know, but it wouldn't surprise me that down the line we found out that this was some sort of distraction, or there was more to the story, because multiple countries spent millions of dollars in what we now know was a complete waste of time and energy.
Absolutely. Weird. Again, for just 5 people, again, the adage that the good of the many outweighs the good of the few or the one. We're nonplussed when 500 refugees drowned in a boating accident in the Mediterranean, but we're super concerned about 5 people who, on their own volition, went down to dangerous depths. They took the same risk.
Yep.
What was the reason for the risk? One reason was to get out of a terrible situation that a life-threatening risk made the most sense, or am I just going for a joyride?
Right. We cared more about the joyride. It doesn't make sense. There's just, I'm going to keep my eye on that one.
Yeah. Okay. I can appreciate that. Hey, folks, the human gene identified that can prevent the most bird flu viruses moving to people. Let me ask you this, and we're not going to get into the science of this because it gets really deep and we're kind of running short on time. But if somebody came to you and said, hey, we have a vaccine against all bird flus, and that includes COVID, that includes the H1N1 viruses, and they said, hey, you take this one shot and you are immune from this specific set of diseases that happen to be proliferating kind of everywhere, would you take that shot? Hi, Fiona.
Yeah, I would. Well, I mean, at this point in my life, yeah, I got nothing to lose. Fuck it.
I mean, I would too. Hey, everybody.
I heard, speaking of vaccines, I heard that there's a cancer vaccine in development that they feel like there's some real possibilities on that. And you always hear about that. That was always the argument. Like, what if there's a cancer vaccine? Would you take a cancer vaccine?
They can't cure cancer, but I've got a vaccine for the flu every year.
Right. So now they can cure cancer with a vaccine. If they could cure cancer with a vaccine, or they could prevent cancer with a vaccine, how many anti-vax people would take it?
Right.
Would any of them?
What are the odds that they would die? Well, probably good. Why don't we skip the Japan story? And because we can't skip this story. When when Ryan Hansen and Tipton Moscow send you the same story,
Yes.
you kind of have to
You know that it's an interesting. It's because of the headline. I mean, that headline was made for this show.
Airport worker fatally ingested into engine at San Antonio International Airport. According to the National Transportation Safety Board, the incident happened on Friday around 10:25 p.m. on Delta Flight 1111. That's an unlucky number for you, pal. Arrived at the San Antonio Airport from Los Angeles and was taxiing to the gate on one engine. Jesus Christ, Southwest. Delta. One engine? Jesus. Yeah. That's when a worker was ingested into the engine. The NTSB is actively investigating the incident. The San Antonio International Airport said in a statement, quote, an accident occurred on the ground at San Antonio International Airport tonight that resulted in the fatality of an airline ground crew member. We are deeply saddened by this incident and are working with authorities as they begin their investigation. We will share more information as details become available.
Well, there's an update on that story.
Oh, please.
So they figured out the guy committed suicide.
What?
The guy committed suicide.
I mean, that's one way to do it.
That's a hell of a way to do it.
If you're gonna
that came out, I think, yesterday.
No shit. Okay, all right.
The investigation. They must. I think honestly, they must have had video. Video
sure,
must
of him
exist.
He literally just like
threw himself into that fucking engine. Yep. So think about that. Video of that exists somewhere.
Somebody on Delta Flight 1111 was like looking out the window, like, I can't wait to meet my.
I would guarantee you that there is a good chance that video is on somewhere in the dark corners of the internet already.
Right. Just, oh wow, Jesus Christ! Like it's the shredder of shredders. It's like
God, what, of all ways. I mean, I guess it's instant.
I mean, we've talked about ways you can die, right? Like you don't want to feel it, you don't want to know what's going on, you want to have a moment to know, like, oh my God, I'm dying, right? That's kind of it. You would assume it's head first. So
yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, it's well, wow, you're a incredible athlete. What a way!
Yeah, holy shit,
that's a hell of a drop kick, sir.
Yeah, wow,
way to drop kick that engine.
Golly.
So I guess we should then, for our folly and not following up with the tragic result or cause of death in this situation. Ben, I guess
we're going to watch this video, right?
We're just going to whip each other with bull penises.
No, we're not.
Welcome to Nicaragua, where they take part in a 4 centuries old religious tradition of whipping each other with dried bull penises.
What is going on in other countries?
Well, first of all, that's a big fucking penis.
It is, dude.
What is going on?
Holy
with the
shit.
Bulls? The Chicago Bulls. It was kind of like that, actually, back in the day, folks. But holy shit, I feel inadequate next to these dried bull penises.
Supersized chili whipped.
What'd you do today? Well,
yeah, look at my scars. Look at my whip scars from this bull penis.
Why are you in the emergency
game
room
is
today,
beautiful.
Sir?
It's eye-catching and unique. This guy
said
says.
The game. How do you win?
Yeah.
How do you win? You quit?
I guess one guy quits.
Like all right. I feel like I've got an infection from this dried bull penis. I'm done.
Jesus.
Why are you in the emergency room, sir?
Don't tell me religion ain't fucking weird.
Look, and why are some guys allowed to wear a shirt, and some guys look? It's almost like lightsaber dueling. Some guys have a style, like they're defensive. Other guys are just like, fuck it,
right? Just going in all willy nilly and shit.
And here goes the priest.
That's a great question. Do they assign you one, or do you get to pick your bull penis?
Oh,
is there a rack of them? You know what I mean?
You get that
do you have to bring your own? Do
Do you get to groom your own bull and eventually cut its penis off and use it as a weapon against some stranger?
You penetrate your foe. That's how you win. Jesus.
Yeah, we like to bring you these things on Topic Thunder here. We also do like a palate cleanse. So speaking of things just swinging around, this next video, ladies and gentlemen,
hold on.
we have a rescued orphan elephant,
Oh,
Niam Beanie, who's still trying to figure out just what its trunk does.
Yeah, I guess there would be some question of like, hey, what the fuck is this thing that hangs off the front of my fucking face?
What is it allowed to do?
Yeah. oh, I can do this.
Look at this little guy go. It's a little girl, actually. But again, orphaned elephant that this nursery and our good friends at the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, that's at Sheldrick Trust on Twitter, at Sheldrick Trust. Very worthy cause. We will continue showing elephant videos because honestly, it's between elephants and whales as to who should probably rule the planet going forward. If we're to survive. And ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the lightning round. It's my dad's favorite segment. We used to make a joke that my dad never watched the program,
Right.
And that this is the favorite segment that he never watched. But ladies and gentlemen, guess what?
He is
Dad
here.
Effer Brooks is in the Thunderdome. And folks, if you're unfamiliar with how we run this particular segment of the show, please let me allow some explanation to occur. 3 stories enter the Thunderdome. 1 gets read, and folks, that 1 story is chosen by you, the people. Without any dilly or dally, ladies and gentlemen, headline number 1. Man robbed woman at gunpoint, then asked her on a date.
That's one way to go about it.
It's better than Bumble. Headline number 2. Man and youth arrested after baby donkey moon stolen from Hampshire farm. You can't beat it with a man and youth.
That's a hell of a headline. Okay.
Oh, man and youth. Headline number 3. Minnesota man jailed following Skittles assault.
Okay. All right. We've got some interesting ones here.
The gauntlet has been laid before you, ladies and
No
gentlemen.
Florida man, but we do have Minnesota man.
You can't beat a Minnesota man from the great state of Minnesota, Ben.
Yes.
Don't mention
And they,
Jesse.
they use A like Canadian. They got a little bit of Canadian in there.
It is a very interesting accent. It's like if you took the Wisconsin thing, which is hey, that
Yeah.
neighbor thing, and then you do the heavy Canadian thing and get the Minnesota. It's very, very confusing. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen,
All right, one more time. Let's hit them one more time with those
as the
headlines.
votes roll in, we want to remind you one more time, we are available for your consumption every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Twitch,
Come join us.
Facebook, YouTube, when I remember to put it on my Facebook. But yes, you can join us every Wednesday. So just to refresh your memory, headline number 1. Man robbed woman at gunpoint, then asked her on a date. Headline number 2. Man and youth arrested after baby donkey Moon was stolen from a Hampshire farm. And headline number 3. I like that it was baby Moon.
Yeah, the Moon is the name of the
Moon
donkey.
is the name
right?
of the donkey. The donkey has a name. So
Got
I guess if we were to take it out, if I were to simplify the headline, man and youth arrested after baby donkey stolen from Hampshire farm. Makes more sense, right?
Yes, it does.
It
Putting
flows better.
the donkey's name in the headline does convolute it just a
It
smidge.
throws it off a little bit.
Yes.
It's no headline number 3. Minnesota man jailed following Skittles assault.
Man, 1 and 3 seem to be the contenders. We've already got a vote for number 1. Man, I'm split. I hope I don't. It's not on me.
I assume that there are other areas, so we got to vote for 3. There are more people in the Thunderdome right now, so folks, go ahead. If we have to name it, we'll go over the stories. Oh, Ma Jordan coming in, but we will go over them one more time. We like to drag things out. We like to go at least until 8:20. So, folks, you got at least 5 more minutes of us here.
Alternate headlines, by the way.
Here we go.
Date me. I got money. Mia Donkey, and Attacked by the Taste of the Rainbow.
And number one, we're still at a dead still.
Oh,
We got,
3, 3, 1, 1. So we
okay.
got 3 for number 3, 2 for number 1.
Story
so
number
far.
3 is pulling ahead. We will.
Oh, see, I don't. Oh,
Welcome
I don't
to,
trust you, Box. I'm sorry.
Welcome to Villainous Hood
Yeah.
in the Thunderdome, because licorice is blah.
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 What's wrong with
licorice,
you?
blah. Anyway, Data from Brooks chiming in. We still have a winner, but by the narrowest of margins, ladies and gentlemen. We have a 4-3 lead with story number 3. There were more people in the Thunderdome earlier. I don't see a vote from Aunt Chris. Biz chiming in. Okay, all right. We're waiting for a couple more. But just to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, the Blackhawks chose
Grimace
Carnival
Shakedown.
and I am, as a hockey fan, excited, as a Blackhawks fan, super excited. And the draft hasn't gone exactly well. So I'm like one of those weird hockey fans that I really like hockey. I don't share enough about that, right? Everybody else is into their golf or their basketball or baseball. I love hockey. Tonight has been weird. Let me just say, and I'm going to be jumping all over the NHL coverage after this.
Gigi is all hyped up about it.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Wait till I tell you about it. The defenseman, the number 19 pick is coming up, babe. The Chicago Blackhawks own the number 19 pick.
Adrian's going with number 3, too. I just got her vote in.
All right. Well, folks, then we have a clear winner by a 2-1 margin. Folks, let me copy this story.
And Sailor Dave is out there somewhere, because 2 minutes ago he reacted to the video. So he's out there somewhere. Maybe I don't know if he's still listening, but Sailor Dave's out there.
We love
Oops, sorry, got ahead of myself.
whoa,
No, I accidentally hit the button. My bad.
we're not quite there just
Not
yet.
yet.
But
Not yet.
we will be soon. Ben, I just shared the story with you. Let me go ahead and start reading, and you can put this.
Well, that's a hell of a fucking mug.
It's a mugshot that you. Let me, folks. Let me tell you, when I say you chose wisely. June 27th, a Minnesota man is behind bars following an unprovoked Skittles attack on restaurant patrons and employees. Investigators say that Tristan Statina, 19, walked into a Mankato eatery. Wow, Mankato eatery.
Mankato,
Friday.
yep.
Yeah. And began throwing Skittles at employees and customers. A woman identified as victim 1 in a court filing said that she was hit in the back with a Skittle, which caused a stinging pain.
Oh, stop it.
Upon arriving at the restaurant, a cop noticed Skittles all over the place on the ground and a bag of Skittles near the garage. The suspect, victim 1, told police had a, quote, heart-shaped tattoo under his eye and another tattoo on the side of his face. Based on the description provided by the woman, she knew the male to be Tristan Statina. Statina had been twice arrested by the Mankato police in recent months. After locating the man at a nearby business, the teen allegedly pulled away and attempted to break free from officers as they were trying to place him under arrest in handcuffs. Statina, who tried to trip one cop, eventually was subdued by 3 officers, according to a probate cause statement. Surprisingly, he's still alive. Statina, charged with misdemeanor assault for alleged Skittle. I don't even know what that word means. Holy shit. It's rare that I don't know what a word means holy shit. Fusillade? We have to look up what this word means.
Fusillade? No.
Fusillade. A series of shots fired or missiles thrown at the same time or in quick succession. Marchers had to dodge a fuselage of missiles. Wow. Again, folks, we're talking about Skittles. While the probable cause of this document had no permanent, there is no explanation why this person started throwing Skittles. Also,
I know what there's one seems very obvious explanation for me, and it's meth. Ben?
Well, it could be. There's also no explanation why somebody felt that one Skittle to their back was a debilitating injury that stung.
Yeah, no.
Unless you're coming in there with like a paintball gun full of Skittles, which
This
story,
kid screams meth problem.
this kid, and let's be honest, victim number one screams victim number one.
Well, yeah, victim. Yeah, you're overly victim.
That is
Right. The picture of the Skittles to the left is fucking hilarious.
and that's where it hit me. That's where it hit me. Like Skittles to the left, just like JFK. Skittles
Back
to
into
the
the
left,
left.
back into the left, back into the left, just like the Zapruder films. Last segment of Topic Thunder, we call it closing time. Ben, you just well, before we get to our accoutrements and good nights, you started a new podcast. You want to tell us about
Yeah, Fight to the Deaths. We're getting closer and closer to releasing basically book one. It'll be 10 episodes in total, covering November 1988 through March 1989, the war between WCW and the WWF. I've also got a teaser coming out. We talk about why the Bushwhackers ended the run of the Fantastics.
Well, so always, if you're interested in the wrestling, and this show is certainly wrestling adjacent for a myriad of reasons, check out Ben's show. For the meantime, thanks for tuning in to Topic Thunder from the USS Thunderpop.